Okay, so let's begin and hit the apply. The task name. So you need to enter where there's no spaces. So here we'll just call it Data Rep. Now on the left you immediately see that there's a task created called Data Rep. Let's go ahead and click on it. And here you have all the attributes and values set for the data replication task. So we have the share, we show that the agent login name and all the attributes for the use access control list, log repair, the log replication errors, and of course don't delete files. Now let's hit the task. Now the setting time, we provide two types here. One is the intervals, which every 10 minutes, as you could see, you could do 15, 30, 1 hour, up to 24 interval times that will be replicated. So every 12 hours, you will the task will kick off, and any updates will be immediately replicated. You're not replicating all the files. So let's understand this. Is if I'm doing a 10 minutes a replication, the first set of files that will be replicated will be all files and directories of that share will be replicated. The next interval time, let's say you only made, let's say a few changes. Only those few changes will be replicated, not the whole share itself that's already been. And so what it does, it compares it and comprises this, it analyzes it and says, okay, we only have these changes and we will replicate only these changes only. So in this course, we're going to use a weekly version because of the time. And by the way, time is very important. So you want to make sure your time is set properly for your DSS. And today is Tuesday. And we're to set our time right now. We're at 1400 hours. And we're looking at 1400. We'll start it in 1420 because we're at 19. And of course, we're going to apply it. Actually, we'll give it an extra minute. Allows me a few seconds to talk about. So you can, and every even weeks or odd weeks. Once you select your time period, then you hit apply. Now you'll see that we have our details for weekly, Tuesday, and of course you select many other days as well. Now we're going to do this again, but we're going to do it a little differently to show a unique thing with the data replication, that not only can you replicate to a destination server, but what happens if you wanted to replicate to more than one destination server? And you can do this. Let's look at the task right down on the bottom left. And you have a full capability of even removing the task and recreating a new one. If you look here, the data replication task, we'll go ahead and start it early. And if we click down here on the down arrow button, again, it provides you information about the task and set this up. So in about a minute, we're going to see that all the data is being transferred. As you can see right now, it's beginning. Let's look at the status task that we've created. So currently, we see that it's completed. Overall files, transfer, prepare time. So you can see that the time is very short. And of course the amount of changes. So here we get Snapshot begins, data replication started, and completes. So now we should be able to go on to our destination. And previously there was no files. Let's do a refresh. And here we have all our share from the share of the data to our share to the destination server, and all the files are presiding in from the data replication, and they have been transferred. And it's that simple to utilize. Now let's add a little variation to this. Let's go back to the maintenance and data replication. And now let's say we would like to do for another server. So from the source, we want to replicate not only to our first destination, but we'd also like to make another copy to, let's say, DSS backup for this server. Let's make sure that we have a share and the logical volume created. And we do. And let's make sure that the data replication is enabled for this third DSS. And let's make sure that we have a share. We do, and we call this destination 2. Now notice this doesn't have ADS. So let's go to our destination 2 share. Scroll all the way down to the bottom and select Data Replication Agent. We'll use the same name and password. Now let's go back to our source server. And before we start, let's verify that the destination 2 is empty. And it is. So now we'll create another task. We'll call this Data Rep 2. We're going to select the share data. Immediately it picks up from the snapshot. And the IP address of that server we'll verify is 0225. 192.168.0225. Now we're going to scan. And we found one share. Destination 2. We're going to apply the username, agent login name, and the password, and hit apply. So now we see on the left we have another task ready to be set up for our intervals or time. So in this case, we're just going to use every 10 minutes. Now you can force it by clicking on the play button. Now our task is created. We can go click right at the data replication function right here. We see that we're going to this IP address, to this source share data, and then we're going to go to the destination share, destination-2. Well, let's kick it off. Let's not wait 10 minutes. So let's go ahead and start the play button. We'll give it a second. So now what's happening is the snapshot, the task has called for the snapshot, which was snapshot 000, to take a snapshot of the logical volume 000, where that share resides. The snapshot will take the snapshot. The data replication will then, at that point, start the replication from the snapshot to the destination server. As you see, it's already begun. And you can verify, again, going to Status, Tasks, and see that the data replication 2 has begun, and there are no errors. So let's look and see if our files from that share are on destination 2. We'll hit a refresh, and there they are. So you can replicate from server A to server B, server A to server C in many ways. And you can also replicate from, let's say, server A to server B to server C. Let's say we were to delete these files. So this is on the destination 2 server. And let's say we wanted to, let's remove this task on the source, the main source. And we'll remove the data rep 2 task that we have. And we want to keep this one continuous for every Tuesday or every day of the week and every time. And so what the whole design here is that if server A, the source server, which is what we are on now, is running a task to replicate to the destination server 0.2221. And let's say we wanted to take this destination server and we wanted to set up a task to replicate the share called destination to the third server, destination 2 to DSS. So we can do this. So I'm going to go through this, and I'm going to show you some errors that, in case you experience, that are easy to be worked on and resolved to be able to enable your data replication agent. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll create another one called test 2. We'll select our share, which is called destination. And you see there's no snapshots found. So this is what I wanted to show you. So all we have to do is go to Configuration, Volume Manager, Volume Groups, then select VG00. And we see our logical volume, but there's no snapshot. So let's select and create a new snapshot. Again, what is the size? Varies. Either up to 3 times the amount of changes and writes you believe that you will be making during the time of that snapshot. So in a period of, let's say, in one day you're going to do a task, you believe that there might be no more than 10 gig. So then maybe you want to do 30 gig snapshot. If you feel like we would never do 2 gig, then you want to probably create a 5 gig snapshot. You can always expand your snapshot volumes as well. So here we're going to create a new snapshot, and for this purpose we'll just set it for 10 gig. Now if you notice, I didn't select this time to assign it to the logical volume. This is just to show that in case you forget, you can always change the value below. Here the snapshot is not assigned, as it states, unassigned snapshot. And here's where you can set it. So if you forget, you can always go down the bottom and set your definition appropriately. Okay, so now let's go back to the backup data replication agent. Let's recreate it. Test 2. We'll choose our shared destination. And now you see that it immediately sees the assigned snapshot to that logical volume. Let's put our IP address, 0.225, and now we scan. So at this point, what we're looking for is we found one share that is available for us to use to replicate, and here we see destination 2. Use the login name and the password. Now we've created a task on the bottom left. There's 2, sending again our attributes and values. Then let's go back to weekly. So you can actually set Monday, Tuesday, every day of the week to start at a certain time value. So we'll set it for head of our time. And again, you can go every week, every even week, or every odd week. And again, once you click on this, more information, a little bit more detail. So would this mean that the first would kick off every other even week or every odd week, depending, and make sure your time is all set in the DSS. So your date and time is very important for obviously reasons, not only for the start this, but to be able to start your replications every even weeks or odd weeks. So now that we have our times and dates and set, and we can improve this, we'll push the replication and not wait for that time, and we'll click the play button. So if you do, what I'm doing here is, instead of waiting those few minutes, I'm asking that we're going to a system and start the replication now. If, let's say, we do this now, the next following day, it would automatically kick on for that time value. So you don't have to click on the play button. What we'll do is just to speed up the process here.